Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into something we all deal with. We're going to unpack 15 everyday human behaviors to reveal the hidden psychological pain and emotional depth that's actually driving them. We interact with dozens of people every single day, right? Friends, family, coworkers. We constantly see their habits and reactions. But honestly, how often do we actually stop and translate what those behaviors really mean? Well, by the end of our time here, you're going to have a completely new lens to view the people around you.
To kick things off, I want you to picture someone really close to you. You got them in your head? Okay, good. Now ask yourself, are you just taking their surface-level actions at face value, or are you actually seeing their unseen reality? It's so incredibly easy to just accept the version of someone they present to the world. But humans are, well, we're complicated, and a lot of times our everyday actions are actually just protective mechanisms designed to hide our absolute deepest struggles. So let's get right into section 1. The masks we wear. There's this really stark paradox between projecting extreme amusement and actually harboring a profound sense of isolation. You know when someone laughs just a bit too loud or way too long at things that honestly aren't even that funny? We usually just assume, oh, they're the life of the party, right? We think they're just naturally joyful. But the reality, it's often the exact opposite. That exaggerated laughter is a camouflage. Deep down, they're intensely lonely. They're basically filling the empty silence with their own laughter to convince you and probably themselves that they aren't feeling completely disconnected.
And speaking of camouflage, the brightest, most constant smiles are so often just protective armor. Have you ever known someone who is literally always smiling, like no matter the situation? You kind of wonder how they pull it off. Well, according to the psychology here, they wear this armor during the day specifically to shield against the intense pain they're enduring when they're alone at night. That smile? It's a boundary line. It's essentially telling the world, hey, I'm fine, please don't look any closer. Because when the sun finally goes down and all the distractions fade away, they are the ones hurting the absolute most.
Moving on to section 2, retreating into solitude.
Okay, these behaviors usually just frustrate the people around them, but they're actually desperately utilized escape routes. Let's break them down. If someone sleeps a lot, it's not just them being lazy. It very often indicates they are profoundly sad, and sleep is literally the only relief they get from their waking reality. And what about the workaholic? The person who stays busy 24/7. They are quite literally running from their own thoughts. If they slow down, the thoughts catch up. And then there's isolation. When someone pulls away from us, our ego immediately says, oh, they're rejecting me, or they just hate people. But the hidden truth? They're isolating because they don't want to be a burden to you. They are retreating to protect you from their pain.
We also see this kind of retreat in tiny micro-interactions. Take the person who constantly avoids eye contact. We're so culturally conditioned to view a lack of eye contact as disrespectful, or shifty, or a lack of confidence. But let's look at the psychology for a second. Looking away isn't about disrespect at all. It's actually a physical manifestation of an inability to vocalize hidden truths. They're holding on to emotions that are so heavy or so complicated they just don't know how to get them out. They avoid your eyes because, well, eyes are revealing, and they are utterly terrified you might see a truth they just aren't ready to share yet.
Along those same lines, you might notice someone suddenly becomes incredibly quiet, or maybe they've always just been a person of very few words. Listen, a sudden or consistent quietness is very often a defensive wall being carefully, meticulously constructed. By talking less, they are volunteering less of themselves. They're shrinking their target area. It's a highly active strategy to guard a fragile heart from taking any further damage. Simply put, if they don't speak, they can't be misunderstood, they can't be judged, and they can't be heard again.
All right, section 3, when emotions overflow.
It is so easy to judge someone as overly sensitive when some minor inconvenience, like dropping a pen or missing a green light, causes this massive, seemingly unwarranted breakdown. But listen, that small thing, it absolutely did not cause the pain. It was just the final drop in a vessel that has been overflowing with suppressed pain for way, way too long. They aren't crying over spilled milk. They are crying because they have been holding the entire world in and their emotional capacity just finally hit its absolute limit.
Now, the flip side of that emotional overflow is incredibly fascinating. Sudden rage, or a super quick temper, it's often not rooted in malice at all. Actually, scratch that. It's usually a misdirected expression of immense care and passion. When someone gets angry way too quickly, it means they care entirely too deeply, but they literally don't know how to properly channel or communicate that intense feeling. The emotion completely overwhelms their system, and it just short-circuits into anger.
And the exact same logic applies to mood swings. If you're seeing rapid, totally unpredictable emotional shifts in someone, like they're super happy one minute and entirely withdrawn or irritable the next, realize that you're merely witnessing the surface ripples of a very intense, unseen internal war. They're fighting massive personal battles behind closed doors. They're battling anxieties, doubts, and traumas that are totally invisible to you. That mood swing? It's literally just the exhaust from that internal engine.
Notice how this entirely reframes anxiety and overthinking. When someone analyzes every tiny detail to total exhaustion, or asks you the exact same question 3 different ways, or plays out the absolute worst-case scenarios, they aren't just trying to annoy you, they are directly reacting to past traumas where their trust was totally shattered. Overthinking is just a defense mechanism. They're trying desperately to predict the future and account for every single variable so they can prevent history from repeating itself and keep their trust from being broken yet again.
Which brings us to Section 4. The empathy of pain.
These next behaviors are honestly some of the most misunderstood out there. Overhelping, chronic forgiveness, and people-pleasing. Society usually applauds these traits, right? We just think, wow, they're a really nice person. But the source material reveals these are actually incredibly powerful trauma responses. If a person loves to help absolutely everyone, it's usually because they intimately know the agonizing feeling of suffering alone, and they absolutely refuse to let anyone else feel it. If someone forgives too easily, they aren't weak, they've just realized they value peace significantly more than their own pride. And if they simply can't say no, it's not because they have zero boundaries, it's because they are utterly terrified of abandonment and fear losing people.
This observation really captures the emotional crescendo of our explainer beautifully. Think about that person in your life who is your absolute rock. The one who always knows exactly what to say, who offers the deepest, most grounding advice when your world is completely falling apart. Well, the sobering reality here is that the wisest people in your life have almost certainly earned that wisdom by surviving the most intense suffering. They have the map out of the dark woods simply because they spent years totally lost in them.
And finally, Section 5. Seeing beyond the surface.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a bit of a challenge. The next time your friend laughs just a bit too hard, or a coworker completely avoids your eyes, or someone lashes out at a totally minor problem, pause. Just pause. Take these observations, look right past those superficial masks and defensive behaviors, and try to meet the people in your life with the profound empathy they truly need. Because understanding the hidden pain behind everyday behaviors doesn't just change how you see the world, it literally has the power to change how you heal it. Thanks for learning with me today.